What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Hope your guys' Wednesday went a little better than mine did. It was not the best slate for me ever. Sheets, how did you do? And then let's jump into tonight's slate.
Hung in there in baseball yesterday. My bigger buy-ins, like kind of min cash, I hung in there. Not remotely going to make up for what Emmanuel Grillo was doing to me today, but we were talking about yesterday. So so I did all right in baseball a little bit, and that was it. It's all going to hell in a handbasket with golf today. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hear you a little bit. Actually, I realized that none of my golfers have actually started yet, so
that's good.
Other than Grillo, unfortunately, who I've got about 30% of, so that's kind of unfortunate. All right, why don't you pull up your screen and we'll go get game by game.
Yeah, it's every day is weather, right?
It's anybody who doesn't believe global warming is a thing. No, I'm just kidding. No, it is crazy that every day that we have a different bizarre storm somewhere in the Midwest or the East Coast. Yeah, so I guess that's what we're gonna have to talk about to start with this Yankee game. And you're there, man. You got the insight for us?
Yankees is postponed.
Oh, it is? I actually thought that I didn't have that note yet. My bad. Well, that makes that part easy, I guess. So we're starting off with Toronto and Seattle then.
Oh, so we're doing. Wait, hold on. We're doing the early.
Am I late here?
Are you hallucinating? What,
I'm sorry. It's the same start time. It's just a different thing. I'm just looking at the starting lineups page. But yeah, which game do you have first? Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. We can start.
Yes. But you can get that. Hold on a second. Who is it? Okay, can you get that for that?
Sorry, guys, we're scrambling a little bit this morning, but we'll get to it right now. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh is the first game you got on the slate, so we'll start with that one. What are your thoughts here? Anybody? Are you any interest in? I mean, I guess that this is going to be. I guess we're going to have some interest in the Corbin Burns, obviously, but I don't think I'm going to be playing Will Crow. I have Burns as my second favorite pitcher. How about you?
Yeah. I have Burns as my second favorite pitcher. I mean, I have him below. I do have him below DeGrom, but he's certainly a very, very legitimate SP1. Pittsburgh is just like it's the ultimate park downgrade for openers. I mean, they couldn't. They busted every game in freaking Colorado apparently, and now they're going to come home to Pittsburgh against Burns. Good luck to you. I don't know. I got a hankering to play Burns. To play Burns over DeGrom. I don't know. Maybe DeGrom is touchy, and there's weather issues maybe in that game too, isn't there?
Yep.
But I definitely have Burns as one of my top two right now, and depending on what games get canceled and what games go, we're going to see how that plays out. I didn't get to any of the hitting. Actually, that's not true. I do have Milwaukee as a secondary stack on DraftKings for the hitting. I don't think actually Crow is that bad of a pitcher, but I still have Milwaukee as a secondary stack over there.
Yeah, I get it. It's chalky-ish, and it's in Pittsburgh, so I'll just leave Milwaukee alone probably. Okay. Not a good hitter's park. But I don't know. I'm definitely going to play. I just don't see any reason really not to play Burns and DeGrom together. I really can't find any. So that's probably the first way I'll look. And this is a really ugly slate. Like, it's really, really ugly with the weather and everything. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm probably going to play one lineup tonight because I just don't like these kind of slates. And you have every game starting at the same time. It's going to be a scramble to see who's actually going to play or not. And I don't know. It's an ugly slate. And while the weather in this game is okay, it's not like it's perfect in this game either. So, you've got, well, I guess it's probably going to be clearing out early on enough. Yeah, I like Burns, and I like the Milwaukee bats make sense to me. I just don't see myself it's sort of not a you move to play a team that just scored 700 runs yesterday, and Milwaukee just scored 1 million runs. So I'm actually sort of taking a page out of your book and going to avoid it today and bet that they don't score 1 million runs and have everybody put up 50 fantasy points like they did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have them as I said as a top one. They're like tied for like 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, like that area.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, you want to talk about the Dodgers in Washington here? I don't think this is game. I mean, looking at this weather, man, this is like, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty ugly. Um, I don't think I'm not looking at either pitcher in this game, and I would be. I'm just not. I don't think I would go with the core. I mean, look, if it was, I'm thinking about it for a second with Corbin actually. Like, I just don't see any reason to do it. But yeah, to say I like the Dodgers bats a little bit. I don't really have a ton of interest here. I'm sort of thinking this game is going to have a hard time playing as of right now. But I hate doing this stuff in the morning. I hate guessing that in the morning. But if it does play, the Dodgers would be a secondary stack for me. That's basically all I have interest in this game.
For me, if they play this game, the Dodgers are one of the top stacks for me. I have them with two other teams kind of tied for my top play. I have the same degree of concern for you as you for the weather, and it's just something you're just going to have to monitor. But if I get the go ahead, I'm gonna play the Dodgers against Corbin. I mean, I know he's been better this year and all this stuff, but you got to pause for a second, Bobby. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. All right, so you're talking about the Dodgers against Corbin if he does if it does play.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have interest in that, but again, I hope that's only obviously only if the game plays. And I'm not not playing Corbin. I just don't want to play guys against the Dodgers.
I don't blame you. I'm not in love with it. I was just sort of trying to think outside the box on this little slate, but I mean, the weather is going to probably not matter anyway. Not make it matter anyway. I really don't know what to do with this weather situation. I do think you can probably get lower ownership on the lefties here, so maybe the Dodgers actually do make a little bit more sense than Pollock would be the obvious play with Betts, and then Bellinger, Taylor, Muncy, Will Smith, in some variation of that. Probably Will Smith would be a little bit higher up, I guess, but yeah, I think that they definitely make some sense. So I can get behind it. I'm not going to play anybody from Washington. Again, another team that had a monster day yesterday. Starlin Castro is the only guy who seems to stand out as a value option.
Well, I want to talk to you about the slate for a second.
Okay.
Because my first, I always run my stuff early to see what lineups would pop out, so I know where people are going to go, or whatever. And the first thing I looked at was, okay, like you want to play DeGrom and Burns together. But let me ask you something. First of all, I got other pitchers I can play, and the other thing is that, and I don't know the answer to this, but since, not to say that DeGrom and Burns are these types of pitchers, but since they cracked down on all the sticky stuff, whatever, has any of these top pitchers hit a ceiling? Any of them?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. I don't know. I did. It just seems as though they're all just either busting or just putting up pedestrian efforts. But okay.
Yeah, I mean, but do you need a ceiling from them today?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, because I got some options here, so we'll
okay.
Talk.
All right, yeah, we can go through it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but guys have definitely hit the ceiling. I mean, I don't think it's been there has been less of it, but it's also Kershaw just the other night put up like 40. So, I mean, that was the ceiling game. That was really annoying too. They checked his gloves as they come off the field as if Kershaw did anything. He just laughed at them. I do think people will play some Washington. Harrison and Castro are the value guys I have. Do you have anybody else that you want to mention from the Washington side?
I have Washington as a secondary stack right alongside of Milwaukee and two other teams in that same range.
Makes sense to me. All right, let's talk about San Diego, Cincinnati. Is I'm guessing that, is Castillo one of your guys? Because I feel like that's maybe a little bit of a reach.
Yeah, why not? I don't know.
So Castillo over Burns, I guess, is an option.
I got three guys that I can play instead of these two. So Castillo is certainly one. I mean, why not? I mean, he's been better. Sure, San Diego's really good, and the park sucks, but I don't know. Like you said, I mean, if it's a reach, then it's going to be a reach for everybody. And
no, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. I mean, like Castillo versus Burns is pretty close in reality as pitchers. Obviously, it's a much tougher matchup, but it's reflected in the ownership. And everybody is going to play Burns and DeGrom. So Castillo is a good way to at least get a little bit different. So I don't mind that, actually. You're right. I probably sloughed it off a little too quickly.
And I will also say that I like Cincinnati as that part of that secondary tier of stats that I like in this game. So I like the Reds, and I do like a little of Castillo.
I think the Reds are. I actually don't understand why the run projection isn't a little bit higher for them. The Reds are definitely one of the priorities for me, and also like the ownership isn't nearly what I would think. I want Suarez, I want Castellanos. I'll play India, even I'll overspend for him. I don't mind Votto in a lefty-lefty matchup. Aquino is cheap. Cincy would definitely be a priority for me today on the slate.
Okay, nice.
All right. Next game, we have Cleveland and Houston. Houston, who let me down a little bit yesterday. But of course, you needed like 100 runs to win yesterday because everybody else scored 100 runs. So Valdez is going to be popular. Valdez is also in that same category, but because he's going to be high owned, I probably would rather play the other guys' National League game. You've got the game in Cleveland, and Cleveland doesn't hit lefties at all, but you have a much higher, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's close between. I mean, the thing that's hard is it's hard to pay 9.8 for a guy to me who's got a 4.5 K prop. So if we're expecting him to get between 4 and 5 strikeouts, paying that price for him just doesn't make a lot of sense. When Castillo has a 6.5 K prop and is going to be lower owned, that doesn't really make any sense to me. And you've got Burns with a 7.5 K prop who's cheaper. So I am probably not going to play Valdez today, even though I like him in general. And I think Houston is rates to be a great stack today, even though they let me down yesterday.
Yeah, Houston's one of the top 3. I had the Dodgers, Houston, and another team, and Houston's one of them. Right? Can you close my door for me? I'm good.
We're good. Yeah.
Okay. I think Valdez is fine. Again, it's not my favorite type of pitcher to play. Because he doesn't really strike out a whole bunch of people. And Cleveland's not bad. So I have him in there. But I disagree with you. By the way, I don't think people are going to play him. I think Burns is just going to be just so freaking popular at that price.
He is, but I'll bet you he's more owned than as of right now. We can't really bet these things because it's not fair because we don't know what games are going to play or not. You know what I mean? But the Burns. I think that the run total and the fact that wind's like howling in from center field.
Oh, is that true? Okay.
Yeah. Then I think that he will get some.
Oh, well, the wind howling in then makes me not like Houston as much, I suppose.
Yeah,
I don't like the howlers. The howlers, you got to beware of the howlers.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I actually just checked the weather just now, so that's why I was looking, and it was a little different than when I looked last night. So I do think Houston takes a little bit of a seat back because of that weather.
Okay, you want to? So we both like Houston, even with the wind a little bit.
Yep.
And neither of us like Cleveland, I presume. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Same page there. So this is, I'm guessing, is probably one of your favorites is Ian Anderson in this next game, and we already both know we both like DeGrom. Talk a little bit about Anderson because this is a very bizarre price point for him to be at. Right?
Yeah, I think it should be 9K. No,
right. It doesn't make sense to me.
So I'm just presuming that he's gonna just get incredible amount of ownership. that's the way I was thinking. I was thinking there'd be either a lot of people played DeGrom and Anderson or Burns and Anderson, and some people played DeGrom and Burns or whatever. I'll tell you this: if any weather issues come up in any of those 3 games, I mean, then you get really, really condensed ownership. But yeah, I think Anderson, he's fine. And I wouldn't play him as an incredible chalk though. But when I mentioned I have options, I think he's a legitimate option. There's certainly routes where he outscores Burns, even 2,000 less. I mean, I think it's certainly in the cards.
Absolutely.
I mean, so I think he's certainly in play. Now, I'm not playing a team that scored 20 runs yesterday. See, I might, if they have the perfect matchup, whatever, I might try a team that scored 12, but I'm definitely not playing Atlanta, which, by the way, I would love to, again, someone's got to do this for us, to go back to clips of the day before to give takes and stuff like that. I remember we spent a full minute on this when you're Atlanta, I'm just gonna keep getting it wrong and I'm not gonna play them and then they're gonna go off. I'm like, yeah, this could be the day. There it is, 20 runs.
But it's not like you. I mean, it's the weirdest thing is you could have said that about every team yesterday, though. Everybody.
But dude, it wasn't even it. The Braves was a one-man wrecking crew.
I know it was all Albies.
Albies, what was it? Somebody's commented Albies like outscored like all the pitchers combined or something like that.
Yeah, that's probably right.
It's he scored I think 75 FanDuel points.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. He went nuts. There was some such huge performances yesterday. It was like ridiculous. I mean, when 200s are barely cashing on FanDuel, like in the
I'm telling you, I bet you the Major League Baseball organization is going to say, well, maybe we should let these people, the pitchers, put cookie stuff on after all.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is like Pat Mahomes. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's like 12 run totals in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean, or whatever. It's.
I might do some digging and see how the over unders have gone since that happened. Just see because I feel like it just feels like there's been a lot more runs scored.
Yeah.
But I agree with you overall in this game. Like, if you want a justification of any reason to get off, so it's going to be DeGrom, Anderson, and Burns as the chalk. I think pretty clearly. This is the first time I've seen DeGrom have a run total projected against him above 3 in basically like 4 years. Like, I don't remember when that's ever been the case. It's always like 2.6 or 2.5.
That's what you need. You need the Braves and the Heat. You know, that's what you need.
Yeah. I guess I'm seeing routes where you can sort of get off DeGrom. Also, I want to point out that the Castillo does have an excellent pitcher's umpire. We don't have information on all the other guys yet. Slight hitters umpire in Atlanta here tonight, but Castillo with one of the best pitchers umpires in baseball, in Trip Gibson. So just wanted to.
And another thing again, and I'm trying to coax Bobby into doing more of this. Like when we when we go live, which should be any day now. He's going to hopefully get some more umped data up there. So at least a quick blurb, yeah. No quick summary like call it the ump dump or something like that.
I'll do it every day.
Or the ump pump or whatever it is. And but what would be interesting little project is to figure out, or you could maybe like put like a ranking like which hitters umpires or which pitchers umpire will be most important. You know what I mean? Like you have a guy like Castillo who really just works around those edges. You know, for him the umpire matters more than maybe like like Scherzer or somebody like that who's just going to just bring the heat. You know, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know the answer, but maybe like have some kind of weighted thing like which hitter's umpire actually is going to help that particular pitcher and stuff like that.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense to me. All right. You want to talk about St. Louis and Colorado? Why don't you start this one off? Because I'm obviously not going to play either pitcher here. Yeah.
So I mean, St. Louis, I presume, will be the chalk, right? They're in Colorado. You can get to them, and I see a little cloud and rain thing in my DraftKings thing. I don't know if this legitimate weather concern is. That's my only look at the weather right now.
Definitely some. I think that it's probably going to play, but it's just another ugly one. It's not as ugly as the Dodgers, Washington, or it's really just the Dodgers, Washington that seems really, really scary. But it is. It's definitely a little shaky.
But I mean, St. Louis. I mean, O'Neill, Carlson, Goldschmidt. I mean, these are all too cheap. They're all good plays. As is St. Louis is a stack. Again, we'll see what other options there are. Again, if a couple of games, like if Washington gets canceled, meaning the Dodgers are out of play, and then maybe ownership condenses a little bit too much on St. Louis and make him want to have maybe fade them a little bit. I don't know, but certainly going to rate to be a good play. We usually tend to stay away from these situations.
I'll probably stay away from St. Louis.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be with you on that. I just kind of like an alternative though. I think
Colorado.
Oh, I've heard of them. They're in a good stadium too today, right?
Yeah, they're in a pretty good hitter spot too. I think that's the answer to the question is that you just flip it on the side because the ownership is going to be completely all over St. Louis. And I mean, come on, DraftKings, get it together. Like, don't leave these guys at the same prices. I mean, they're so cheap. It's ridiculous. It's frustrating actually, because it doesn't really it's not fun to play when everybody has the same plays. But yeah, to get off the chalk, I will be playing Colorado today, or I would be stacking the bottom of St. Louis's lineup. Arenado revenge. I think this is his first time back in Colorado. Not really revenge.
Fair enough.
But I like these Coors bats. I know Wainwright's been much better this year, And I just point out that Marquis has only had one game where he's given up more than one home run this season, and he usually goes about five to 7 innings.
Who?
So I'm not gonna. I'm sorry, not Marquis. I meant Senzatella. And just these Colorado pitchers who pitch there all the time. Everybody wants to get, and it's a huge boost and all that stuff. But at the same time, these guys, it's not like it's their first time pitching there. Like they know how to pitch in the stadium. He's going to give up some hard contact, but most of it's not leaving the yard. And like I said, he's given up 5 home runs in his last 11 starts. I mean, look, that's not somebody you look like and you go, oh, okay, we just need to. Everybody's going to hit a home run for St. Louis today. That's what everyone's going to treat the slate like. So when they're going to do that, I will go on the other side of the game and play the Rockies, who I don't expect to have much ownership, at least as of right now. Maybe if some of the other games, we get the weather issues come through, that could happen. But I would definitely be pretty interested in the Colorado bats. And even as he's been much better this year with Wainwright, he still gives up a lot of power. And he does, he's actually been a little bit more wild this year, which has kind of in a weird way helped him. But I definitely like the Colorado side of this, just to get, lower ownership than the St. Louis side. That's probably what I'll end up doing. This is really not a slate I'm loving at all. In fact, my favorite thing is going to be, well, maybe I'll like it because I'm going to get low ownership on what my favorite thing is, which is going to take us right into the next game. No interest in Cueto for me. Obviously not going to play Merrill Kelly, and I will stack the Giants every which way. They're my favorite stack on the slate.
Why is that?
Arizona, it's hot. Merrill Kelly sucks. I just, there's certain guys who my eyes light up every time they pitch because I feel like they've gotten away with it for too long. And Merrill Kelly was really good his last couple starts. I'm not buying it. The Giants, they did a good job for me against him earlier this year. They went off on him last time, knocked him out of the game in 3 innings. And, I think they had a few extra base hits, a stolen base. He gives up stolen bases. He gives up power. And I like this Giants lineup who's going to be just completely unowned. I'm guessing it looks like I got to find out about the roof being open or not. But I am that's definitely going to get all over this one. It's the best low-owned stack on the slate for me, along with Colorado. So it's probably going to be, you're going to see me with some San Francisco Colorados. Maybe I'll mix in a little bit of St. Louis because they're cheap and because I'm going to be playing so much of this unowned San Francisco stack. They're expensive, so people aren't going to want to go there. This is a good offense. Brandon Crawford has been awesome this year, which is weird to say out loud. Alex Dickerson, Yastrzemski. Nobody's going to play Wilmer Flores at 4.7. Buster Posey is probably the only one who'll get ownership. Lamont Wade. I love all these guys, especially the lefties. So I will definitely go after Kelly today.
So Bobby and I do not talk about the slate usually before we get on, and today particularly. I mean, we barely even made it on here time. I didn't even look at his picture. So I want to give you before I talk about this game, I want to just give you kind of a little preview, and I touched on this yesterday. One of the things that I'm working on, along with my sheets that I've been putting up, is so I put my little stack scores and my value scores and stuff, and then I also have ownerships, and I've been working on kind of a couple of formulas and algorithms to properly weight, what a team's chances of doing something are relative to their ownership, and come up with like a number that just really just leverages everything. Like what is the best stack? Maybe it might not be 100% the best one that's going to get there, but given the ownership, what the leverage is going to be. And I'm really working on that, and it's in beta mode. So the only person who really knows it is me right now. So I will tell you that I will give you my 3 top stacks as far as that metrics go on this whole slate. Number 1 is San Francisco. Number 2,
love it.
Number 2 is Arizona, like from this game. And number 3, which is just an awesome play, which I didn't even talk about, is the freaking Mets against Ian Anderson. So the fact that you came up with San Francisco, and I didn't even know you were going to talk about that at all. I was ready to spring San Francisco and Arizona on everybody at the end. And the fact that San Francisco is your favorite one, I am going to be all over that shit, so to speak.
Love it.
So I'm totally in. I like it. I like it for more analytical kind of Sheets bullshit reason, Sheets like analytical reason you do, but the fact that you have actually good baseball reasons for liking it, makes it good for me. It's like you said, it's that people are going to be bouncing all over these other games. Like Milwaukee's going to look pretty good. People are going to be watching the Dodgers, watching for the weather, and then they'll be ready to pivot over to Cincinnati, even Houston. Everybody's going to want to play, which makes sense. And Atlanta off a 20-run game, not to mention Coors City, and you got this freaking late night freaking game, which is just going to even on a small slate, going to go just totally just underappreciated or underlooked. And I'm going to be in there. I'm totally with you.
I love it. The only thing that scares me about this is that people will get on it because you're going to get a few people on it just because I think throughout the day, people are going to realize that this is actually like a good spot. I do think Arizona has a couple really popular bats, and Peralta and Rojas will probably be pretty high owned. Maybe even Josh Reddick gets some ownership too.
That guy, by the way, the Rojas, the guy that leads off, whatever.
Yeah,
he's good.
He's good. I agree. He's got
good.
Power too.
He's good. He's got pop. Whenever I'm anti-sweating him, he's always on second base. I mean, like he's always he's always hitting the ball. So I like that guy. So yeah. So after all that, this is my favorite. It's probably my favorite game considering everything else we've talked about. So
I love it.
We will see.
All right. Well, we're going to be together on this. So I'm very into this one as well. I do like those two bats I mentioned. Just if I had to pick other bats for Arizona. I think Escobar makes the most sense as a spend up, like really, really, again, it doesn't really matter because no one's going to play any of these guys anyway. But you could even play Pavin Smith and might get some ownership, but I like him quite a bit as well. So Peralta, Smith, Escobar, Rojas would be my favorites, but I don't mind if you use any of these guys, including, Vogt as your catcher, Van Meter, Reddick. So they're all good. They're all good enough for me.
How good? And I want to revisit this also. I'm gonna re-emphasize the other one too. If you can get, if Ian Anderson does become like the big play, which I think he has to, I really do like the Mets. It's like a total, like it'll be a triple leverage spot, and Ian Anderson can be over, can stray from the plate. God forbid we get a pitcher's umpire somehow. I don't know what's going on over there.
It's hitter's umpire there.
Okay. Yeah. So I think both those pieces are in play. I think Ian Anderson's in play, and I do think the Mets stacks in play. So
I like that call with the Mets too. I think that those are your stacks that. And the thing is, like on this small slate, you don't necessarily need to stack. You could do whatever with the 3-3, and then play that. You could, because of all this, you could play a couple of these St. Louis guys because you're going to be so different everywhere else. So you don't have to. I mean, I'm just saying. I like the stacks we've come up with. I'm going to be heaviest on San Francisco, followed by San Francisco, Cincinnati, Arizona, and then I do like the Mets as well. Those would be my favorites. And if I do end up getting involved in the Coors game, if the weather ends up looking good. And safe, I will play some of the Colorado side, but I don't have as much interest in the chalky stacks. Obviously, St. Louis makes sense, but it's not. I've watched this so many times with Senzatella, and it's just everybody expects him to get lit up, and he just doesn't. He gives up a home run, he gives up 3 or 4 runs. Guys hit singles off of him almost exclusively, maybe a couple doubles here and there. And he's fairly effective at home. So I'm going to skip the mega chalk as my stack. I definitely won't be stacking any St. Louis.
I will say, and this is one of the questions I posed you literally the first time we ever spoke about baseball is when I was asking you if these Colorado upgrades, like when teams go to Colorado, number one, do their prices get increased? And number two, does their ownerships get increased? And does their ownerships, over, you know what I mean? Like which is the exaggeration? And you said they're usually just like overowned, and it's usually a good idea to fade that situation.
As a stack, as a 5-man stack, yeah.
Right. But I'll give you an example. Like there's literally, I won't say no difference. I would argue that it's a better environment to go play in freaking Buffalo right now, right? Mm-hmm. Than to go play in Colorado. And yet the away teams that are going into Toronto, they don't get priced up. They don't even get owned. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I totally agree with you. I think that's actually a really good example. And by the way, Arizona, before the humidifier and when they used to have the roof open all the time, they were literally right there with Colorado in terms of numbers and power numbers. So totally agree. Guys, hopefully this was helpful. I'm gonna, we got our plays up, sheets are up. Let's have some good luck. Let's turn around the golf luck if we can. We need Grillo probably to shoot like 7 under to make it tomorrow. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll come close and just miss a birdie putt on 18 like he did last week.
Bobby, when you stop recording, hang in there for a second.
All right, guys. Yeah, good luck to everybody. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards.